Let's play a game. It's called Who's Lying? Here are the rules. I'm going to ask you a question, and if you say no, you're either a monk living in the Himalayas without Wi Fi, or you're a liar. Now, here's the question. Have you ever deleted your browser history, not because of storage space, but because of shame? Welcome back, my little succulents. Today, we're planting a very thorny little bush, my guys. We're talking about the elephant in the room, right? The elephant that is currently stuck in the washing machine while its stepbrother walks in. We are talking about pornography. Now, before you clutch your pearls or you close the tab because you're scared mom's watching, relax. I'm not here to preach. I'm not here to tell you that you're going to hell. You might be going to hell. I'm not here to tell you why your brain looks like a deep fried Oreo on an MRI scan, why you can't get it up for a real human being, and why the industry funding it is darker than a black hole's armpit. We're going deep today, my dudes, really deep. Science, psychology, the dark side of the Insta-model pipeline. And yeah, the absolute hilarity of the politicians who ban it while having a premium subscription, baby. Buckle up, put your browser in incognito mode. Let's grow. Okay, let's start with the hardware. Your brain. Evolutionarily speaking, your brain's number one job after don't die is reproduce. When you see a potential mate, your brain releases dopamine. It's the do it again chemical. In nature, you might see a naked person, what, once a month? Maybe. If you're lucky enough not to be eaten by the saber-toothed tiger, right? Hopefully they're not hungry, you know, because it's, I want to find a naked chick Monday. But then enter high speed internet, right? Psychologically, pornography is what we call a supernormal stimulus, right? A supernormal stimulus. It basically, it's to sex what a bag of Skittles is to a strawberry, right? It's hyper palatable, calorie dense, and entirely artificial, my guys. You ain't watching reality. When you open the hub, right, you aren't just seeing one mate. You're seeing a digital harem of thousands doing things that defy the laws of physics and joint mobility. And this brings us to this thing called the Coolidge Effect, right? The Coolidge Effect. So here's the research, right? Look up the Coolidge Effect, right? If you want to. You put a male rat in a cage with a female rat, right? They go at it. And you know what I mean by go at it, my friends. Come on. They go at it. Eventually, the male gets bored and stops. That's it. He's exhausted, right? I mean, come on, man. It's tiring. He goes into what we call the refractory period. And, this is basically a time where, you need to sort of recharge before you can go again. This is what happens to your neurons on a very sort of neural level. Same thing here, right? Very similar. So then they drop a new female rat into the cage, right? And this guy's laying back. He's tired, right? And then they drop that new female rat in there, and boom, he is back in action, baby. The dopamine spike overrides the exhaustion. Well, porn, it is the Coolidge effect on steroids. You can swipe, click, and tab your way through 1,000 partners in 10 minutes. There's also this thing called the DeltaFosB factor, right? And this is where it really gets kind of dark, to be honest, because they've shown that chronic consumption of porn, it actually creates this protein called the DeltaFosB, right? And it's in the nucleus accumbens. And we know this is also an area that, deals with reward systems. And what it does is it creates a state of hypersensitivity to the cue, which, like the thumbnail, right? You see the thumbnail, that's the cue, right? You have real high sensitivity to that, but a desensitization to the reward, the orgasm. Translation, you want it more, baby. You want it, but you enjoy it less. You are chasing the dragon, my friends, and the dragon is wearing cat ears and holding a controller. Which leads us to the psychology of escalation, right? Remember when you first discovered the internet? A picture of a fully clothed person in a swimsuit was enough to get the heart racing. You were ready to go, right? I remember when I was a kid, right? It was like, pictures in like the Sears catalog. Yeah, I just dated myself. So look, nowadays, that's vanilla, baby. That's vanilla. That's boring. Who wants that? I mean, come on, a swimsuit, my dudes. You can see that on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and a Thursday. But because of that desensitization, right, your brain demands novelty to get the same dopamine hit. And this is why vanilla leads to hardcore, and hardcore leads to fetish, which leads to, is that a clown? You aren't suddenly into clowns, my guys. Hopefully, your brain is just bored. Stop watching it, perverts. Look, let's talk about the guys for a second, right? Just the guys, not everyone, but just the guys, right? There's this thing called PIED, and it's real. And here's what it is: porn-induced erectile dysfunction. Now look, I cannot stress how common this is becoming in men under 30. Your brain has been rewired to get aroused by pixels, 4K resolution, aggressive angles, and instant variety. And then you get into the bedroom with a real human, a human with pores, a human with bad lighting, a human who doesn't transition from hello to throat goat in 4 seconds. And your brain goes, buffering. Research shows that heavy porn users report lower relationship satisfaction. Why? Comparison. You are comparing your partner's real body to the curated, surgically enhanced, airbrushed, heavily edited fantasy on Instagram. It is unfair to them, and it is unfair to you. You ain't getting that model. You are not getting that model. And by the way, that model, she does not look like that anyway. That is pure filter, baby. All right. But on a serious side, right? I've been telling jokes here, and that's what we do on Planting Thoughts. That's what we like to do. We like to have some fun, right? But let's get serious. We need to talk about the women, and we need to talk about the lie that is being perpetuated by the porn industry. Maybe not. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit there and accuse them of doing it purposefully, but this is what happens. There is a pipeline happening right now, and it is predatory as hell. And it starts on places like the Instagram and the TikTok, right? Young women, barely legal, sometimes not even, right? They're told a lie. Just start an OnlyFans. You'll make millions. It's so empowering. You're the CEO of your own body. The reality? The data shows the average creator makes less than $200 a month. But the internet is forever. Once that content is out there, it is scraped, stolen, and put on tube sites. You can't scrub it. It's there forever. And you ain't making that $200 again. Look, the mainstream industry is often a meat grinder. We have documented cases. I mean, look up the girls do porn lawsuit. The women were lied to. They were told videos would only be sold on DVDs in Australia, right? And then they found themselves on the front page of the biggest sites in the world. Coercion is rampant. Just do this one scene. It's more money. Don't be a prude, right? Psychologically, psychologically, the trauma is real. I mean, we're watching people mentally check out while their bodies are being used like furniture. If you are consuming rough or degrading content, you have to ask yourself, is that acting? Or is that a documentation of abuse that I am getting off to? Because the brain doesn't know the difference, right? Mirror neurons are going to fire, period, right? And you are training your brain to associate sexual pleasure with the degradation of women. That doesn't stay on the screen. That bleeds into how you talk to women, how you view women, what you expect from women. And in some cases, right, with some guys, right, how you treat women, your behaviors toward them. And that's where it gets really scary. This is no laughing matter, right? And this brings me honestly to the next, my favorite sort of genre of comedy, the moral crusaders. You know the ones, the politicians, the mega church pastors, the alpha male influencers who scream about porn is the devil. They want to ban it. They want ID verification, and they got it, right? They want to burn the servers, and then, oopsie, a scandal breaks. And we find out Senator Family Values liked a tweet from Booty Lover 69 at 3 a.m. Or the pastor who preaches against lust has a premium subscription from trans amateurs. The psychology of projection, am I right? Freud called it reaction formation. When a person is deeply obsessed with or tempted by something they consider wrong, they go overboard in attacking it publicly to distance themselves from it. It's the methinks the lady doth protest too much principle. If someone is screaming too loud about other people's bedroom habits, I'm checking their hard drive, baby. It's almost a law of physics at this point. We are a society of hypocrites. We shame sex workers, but we fund their lifestyles. We demand pure partners, but we consume the most impure content. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you, America? But look, I promised you objectivity. I am not a Puritan. Is all porn evil? No, no. There are positives to porn, right? And at Planting Thoughts, that's what we do. Look, it might be controversial. I might not want to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it because you guys deserve the truth, all right? And let's be honest, positives. There's this thing called exploration. And for marginalized groups, especially in the LGBTQ plus community, right? The internet has been a lifeline to discover who they are in a safe environment when their physical environment might be dangerous. It's a safety valve, according to some psychologists. There's some evidence. What happens is that access to erotica, right, it can kind of act as a safety valve for sexual aggression in some populations. And what that means basically is like, instead of going out and doing something that is going to land you in prison, right, because you can't control yourself, you can go to porn. And it's a little bit more healthy. I'm not sure how I feel about that. The one that's really important is solo sexual health. Masturbation is healthy. It releases tension. It helps you with your sleep. Thanks, prolactin. And it helps you understand your body, right? The problem isn't the existence of erotica. The problem is the delivery system, the algorithm, and the volume addiction, right? And the ethics of production, exploitation. Like we need to clean this mess up. So succulents, where does that leave us? Am I telling you to throw your phone in the ocean and join a monastery? No, I'm not. But I am asking you to be conscious. Your attention is your currency. Your dopamine is finite. If you find yourself escalating to things that would make your grandmother faint, take a break. If you can't look a real partner in the eye because you're wishing they had a filter on, take a break. And also, come over to my dating and relationship site, Plant the Spark, baby, where I'll give you the real tips on how to land the crush. All right? If you are funding sites that you know treat people like cattle, stop paying them. Ethical porn exists. Written erotica exists. Imagination, remember that thing? The theater of the mind? It still exists. And ChatGPT ain't taking that from me, baby. Stop letting an algorithm dictate your sexuality. Reclaim your dopamine. Go outside. Touch the grass. Talk to a girl. Talk to a boy. Experience the awkward, messy, beautiful reality of human connection. It's not 4K. The lighting sucks, but the connection, it's better than anything you'll ever find on a screen. I'm Mike. This is Planting Thoughts. Stop watching, start living. Love ya.